Welcome once again to our Thursday evening training. I hope wherever you are, this finds you well and getting on with your goals in the business as well as in other aspects of your life. My name is Betty OLOO. For those who are maybe joining us for the first time or the first few times, I'm a Neolife distributor of many years. And always, as I always say, it's a pleasure to spend this time on Thursday evenings with you, sharing information about our products and how we can position them to better serve those who come to us in need of help. As you know, our business, we are always looking to make a positive difference in people's lives. And so that is the aim of our business training on Thursday evenings. So I want to welcome you and invite you to relax for the next 1 hour. And also, just for your information, in case you are new and unaware, if you have a question that you may about the products that you would like to get some answer about, you feel free to send an inquiry on WhatsApp. We are always happy to help where we can. So we can send answers if you need them immediately. We try to do it as quickly as possible. And we also have, as today, we do a Q&A session in which we look at some of the questions that we have received so as to share with all of us together some of the problems that we come across as we go about doing our business. And so without further ado, I wanted to look at some of the questions we had in the past, I think 2 weeks since our last Q&A. And the first one that I have was a leftover, I think, from the last Q&A, was someone wanted to know about problems to do with sinuses. This is a common problem that affects people, particularly if you tend to have allergies. And also, it is a good idea to have a doctor check why there is a blockage in the sinuses. The blockage could be due to infection, in which case you may need to be given medicine for that. Or it could be due to growths that might form in the sinuses, and you need a doctor to help you with that. Some people find cleaning their sinuses using salt water to be helpful, saline solution. If you maybe would like to try this, there are people who have found it helpful to ease the pressure on the sinuses and eventually to reduce the problem. So those are some of the first things that we can mention about sinuses, but our supplements also will be very helpful. So we recommend flavonoid complex, which helps a lot with the respiratory related problems, of which the sinuses are a part. And in addition to that, flavonoid complex contains some vitamin C, so you'll be getting that as well. Of course, it's all right to add vitamin C to the supplementation. So flavonoid complex is the first one. We also recommend omega-3 salmon oil that helps us to resolve the swelling that accompanies the inflammation of the sinuses. And we also recommend herbal respiratory complex that helps with respiratory issues. So those are the 3 supplements we'd recommend from our Neolife side. And as I said, you can also maybe look at the issue of needing to see a doctor just in case there's a growth. And also, if there's an infection, you may need to get your doctor to attend to that. If a lot of times when people come to us with problems like sinusitis, it is because it can be recurrent or chronic. And that would mean a long-term use of the supplements and also trying to identify what is triggering the sinus inflammation so as to avoid the trigger. Of course, we know that sometimes whatever is triggering it might not be avoidable, but we're as far as possible to see if it is something in your environment that you can eliminate. Then the next question, someone wanted to know what to recommend for a condition called premature ventricular contraction. Also, short form is PVC. And this is where one gets a sensation that the heart is skipping a beat. So in this case, again, my first recommendation is to consult your doctor to investigate if there are any underlying heart issues that is causing the heart to give this sensation, and also to eliminate unhealthy habits, just in case they are contributing to the problem. So things like tobacco use and alcohol and such like, you may need to eliminate those so as to help to not add problematic things to an existing problem. And of course, if a doctor finds that there's an underlying issue with the heart, then they would help you to get medication for that. And then from our supplement side, what we recommend is coenzyme Q10, which helps, plays an important role in regulating heartbeat. We also recommend magnesium complex and flavonoid complex. So then the next one was something that we locally will call breakbone fever, but it is also called dengue fever. Maybe you are aware of it. It is transmitted through mosquito bites. It has no specific medication for treatment, and the best that we can offer is to avoid mosquito bites as far as possible, maybe by using mosquito repellent if you are living in an area where there are mosquitoes. And also, if one does get dengue fever, it's important to be well hydrated, because one of the ways it manifests itself is cause issues to do with hydration. Then to help the body recover, since there is no medication that you'd get for it, is to use the supplements we normally recommend for viral infections. And this will be vitamin C, chelated zinc, and vitamin D. So those would be what we would recommend for dengue fever. And also because it can recur if we have got exposure to the mosquitoes that spread it, then we can see what to do about mosquitoes, the use of nets, the use of repellents, and so on. Then another question was someone who had an issue called leukocytosis, which is the overproduction of white blood cells. White blood cells, as I'm sure we know, are part of our blood. They are part of the cells that occur normally in our blood. They help very much with our immune system, but sometimes there can be issues that can cause the body to overproduce them, and this can be problematic. So the first recommendation, again, is to consult with a doctor if one hasn't already, to determine and get treatment for any underlying conditions, because our bodies normally produce the right amount of white blood cells. Normally, if it's higher than normal, it could be the result of an infection that is going around in our system or other more serious issues. So that is why the first recommendation is a doctor consultation. We also recommend ensuring that we are eating a healthy diet, healthy foods that will support our immune system. And in addition to that, we recommend, again, flavonoid complex, omega-3 salmon oil, and chelated zinc for this. But as I said, in case there is an underlying condition, it's important to have a consultation. Then the next was someone wanted to, well, a number of people are asking about allergies and irritations in remember the first case was about sinuses, but I think this was general irritation of the air passages. And this is something that can be a seasonal occurrence for people who are allergic to certain types of pollen in the atmosphere. It could be from pollutants in the air and so on that is causing allergic reactions, which then manifest by causing itchiness. It can be in the eyes, it can be in the nose, it can be in the throat, and even on the skin. So the first thing is to identify and avoid any triggers if possible. And sometimes prolonged irritations like this can cause growths to form, or as a result of severely rubbing the nose, we can also cause some malformations in our higher parts of our nostril. So it's good to check what can be causing, in the one case, the blockage of the nose. It could just be swelling from the irritation, but just in case there is something else, there can be some polyps or small growths that are there and contributing to the problem. But the most usual thing is to identify what is causing the irritation and try to avoid it. Normally, as I said, it would be things like pollen. It could be house dust mite, certain small insects that live in mattresses. So the practice of putting maybe mattresses out in the sun to get rid of some of these mites can be helpful. It could be a person is allergic to pet hair from pets like cats and so on. So with allergies and this type of irritation, it helps to find what could be causing them and try to avoid them where possible. Then with the Neolife products, we will recommend flavonoid complex, we'll recommend herbal respiratory complex, and vitamin D. And if the itchiness is on the skin, we will recommend aloe vera gel to apply on the irritated skin. Then had another question. This one is an interesting one. It's actually someone who asked me the question in person. A friend of mine was suggesting that we start a business together, and I told her, well, she actually knows that I'm in the Neolife business and have been for many years, but was telling me that maybe it's time to try something different. And I thought I would bring this to the Q&A just in case some of us out there are also getting this type of lure to go and do something else different from Neolife. As you know, when we are new in the business, we are very focused and very excited the first maybe few years and so on. But if you are like us who have been in the business for now moving towards 3 decades, it may be that the discipline that is required to stay focused in the business might start slipping. And then when people come with other ideas, you may be tempted to move and look at other things, which actually, even though I declined the suggestion, it made me think what answer maybe one would give if one is asked to maybe go and try something different. And so for myself, after thinking about it, I just thought that one of the things that can cause us to actually go off and keep on trying new opportunities here and there, new companies here and there, is that it is not easy to maintain discipline and focus over many years. And the more you are focused and the harder you work at your business, the more there'll be people who want to suggest to you to do other things, because they will have been seeing that you work hard and you are disciplined and focused. And so you are someone that people would want to work with. But I find that our Neolife business requires us to be very clear as to why we are doing the business. Because for myself, as I've probably said to many of you in other fora, I started the business for very specific reasons, to reach certain goals, which I have over time reached. But as time has gone on, I have made other goals which continue to drive me to do the business, maybe in a different way, at a different pace, but my reasons still remain relevant. So we are just having some minor issue going on there. But just to say that you need to have your own reasons for continuing to do the business. And it is all right if, as a result of your own efforts and your own discipline and focus, you find that you are attracting the attention of people who would like to do business with you in other capacities. What I do realize is once you've put your time and energy and focus on our business, it does not really augur well to keep on getting distracted and losing focus and going to try this and that. I find that then you distribute your energy too broadly, and you may find that you are less effective. So hence my answer to her was that if I want to do something innovative or different, the business provides me with many aspects in which I can explore deploying my energies into the business. We can try to do business in different countries. We can try to do more of it in different ways online. We can try to do maybe different types of training. So our opportunity provides plenty of ways in which you can broaden your scope in how you do the business. And remember, each time we are prospecting, the person in front of us is a new and different person. And so I find that even after all these years, the business for me is a Neolife business because of a clarity of why I started, why I continued, and why I mean to continue for as far as and as long as I'm able. So my answer there is be clear as to why you are doing this business. If you feel that maybe things are not going the way you want, examine your own business and think about how to be more innovative and how to approach the business differently to see if you get better results. There are plenty of ways in which the different ways in which our mind works can help us to explore further. And of course, with the training that we do and with the training that Drew and the company provide for us, we can use that as tools to help us do the business more energetically, more with more imagination, and so on. So that was a different question from the ones I usually get, but I thought I might share it. Then the next question was something from a condition called neurofibromatosis, a long name, which refers to an illness that causes growths to form on nerve tissue and can even be on our brains. Sometimes it appears in childhood and also might appear in the adolescent years. Unfortunately, again, here there is no treatment except maybe surgery to help remove some of the growths. But in Neolife, we have some supplements that can help the body resolve unwanted growths. This is Cruciferous Plus, plays an important role there. Vitamin D can also be used. And if it is a child, then we recommend VitaGuard. And for whether an adolescent or a child, we can also recommend Neolife Shake. Again, this is not a condition where, as with many genetic conditions, we may not be able to give a lot of promise, but definitely we can suggest that they try the supplements because it will help to enhance their health in general and possibly can give them an improvement in the quality of life. So then someone wanted to know what to recommend for cold and flu and such like, because I think we are just coming out of the cold season here in Southern Africa, and in other places there have been wet, rainy seasons. So it's a season where the cold and flu viruses tend to be more present and cause infections. So there we recommend vitamin C, sustained release, or chewable all-C. We also recommend chelated zinc, and herbal respiratory complex can also help together with garlic if you want a fourth supplement to add to the mix. So again, with this type of infection, it's important to be well hydrated and to support our immunity. I find that if we start this at the beginning of winter for us here in Southern Africa, if we start around April, to be more keen on using these supplements as a precautionary measure, then we find that we go through winter without all these respiratory issues and infections affecting us. And if they do affect us, we are able to recover from them quite quickly and easily. So then another question was someone who wanted to know what to offer in order to gain weight for someone who is underweight. Again, here, some lifestyle points can be opt for richer foods. So maybe we have gotten into the habit of avoiding foods that are rich in, because more people tend to be looking to lose weight rather than to gain it. So in order to gain weight, richer food, and to increase the frequency of meals. A lot of people who are underweight are not able to eat larger meals. So if you find that the cause for being underweight is a poor appetite, or a small volume of food that the person can eat, then to eat more frequently can help them to take in more calories, which can be converted into body growth. Then from Neolife, we recommend ProVitality to ensure that they have all the at least amounts of the nutrients that they require. And we also recommend Neolife Shake that will help them as a protein supplement. Because remember, one of the dangers in trying to gain weight is being tempted to eat unhealthy, maybe fast foods and junk foods, this may lead to problems in themselves. And that is not what we want. We want to gain weight in a healthy way for those who are underweight, and also to reduce weight in a healthy way for those who are finding themselves to be overweight. So we recommend Pro Vitality and Neolife Shake, and to increase meal frequency of healthy foods and richer foods for that matter. So foods which have got on the fattier side, maybe a bigger serving of carbohydrates, not highly refined ones, healthy carbohydrates, but carbohydrates do help with gaining weight, as most of us who struggle with weight know. And so if a person is underweight, then you can increase the volume of carbohydrates as well as the other nutrients in order to put on some weight. But just make sure that they are not carbohydrates that are going to lead to problems such as pre-diabetes and diabetes. Then another question was about issues to do with eyesight. So there are problems with the eyesight. And on the lifestyle side, we caution against prolonged eye focus in poor light. So trying to read in poor light, maybe in the case of students, maybe in places where there might not be electricity, as unfortunately in many parts of our continent, not everywhere is there a provision of good light. So prolonged focus with poor light can be detrimental to good eyesight, and also prolonged use of screens, especially without the screen, I forget what it's called. There's this thing they have on telephone and laptop screens now that you can put on to reduce the glare from the screen. And this will help to minimize the strain on the eyes that comes from spending long periods working using screens, which many of us probably find that we need to do. So in that case, having switching on that brightness protection app that there is in the newer phones have this. And then on Neolife, we can definitely help. We recommend vitamin A plus D, both very important for good eyesight. We recommend carotenoid complex, and we also recommend omega-3 salmon oil. So those three should be able to assist the body in recovering from eye problems that are caused by prolonged strain on the eyes. Of course, there are certain eye issues that we may need to consult a doctor to help us with, but where the issue is simply from prolonged exposure to eye strain, we can use the supplements and then take care of avoiding that prolonged eye strain. Then another question was about gallstones, and another about gallbladder problems. So gallstones are little stones that appear in the gallbladder, which we know is a small pouch that contains bile, and bile is important for assisting digestion of fats, especially. And if these stones will form because we are not producing enough bile, the bile usually helps us not to form the stones, but for one reason or another, we might not be producing enough bile. So one of the things we can do is to opt for healthy fats. It's not to avoid fats, but rather to opt for healthier fats, so avoid the factory fats. We also recommend avoiding refined carbohydrates. They put too much of a strain on this aspect of digestion. And we also recommend avoiding habits like smoking and the intake of alcohol, as well as if one already has got gallstones or gallbladder issues, eating smaller meals in order to not overtax the system. And then on the supplement side, we recommend omega-3 salmon oil, we recommend vitamin A plus D, beta-GAD, and magnesium complex. So these ones will help in assisting the body to dissolve the gallstones and to make bile production better. But the lifestyle points will also be important there in order not to exacerbate the problem. Then Another question was about recurrent migraines. As I might just mention that migraines are severe headaches that occur and can be accompanied by nausea, dizziness, and other symptoms like that. So it would be a first recommendation to consult a doctor in case there is an underlying reason behind the headaches and to deal with that. Then also to try and identify the triggers of the migraine. Some people find that certain things actually set off the migraine headaches, and where possible to avoid or eliminate those triggers. For some people, it can be certain types of cheese. For others, it's wine, and also for others, migraines might be something that comes as a result of hormonal changes that are noticed at puberty or menopause. So those two life stages can bring about an occurrence of migraines. So the supplements we recommend for this would be omega-3 salmon oil, very helpful for migraines, and also calma, as well as vitamin B complex. Then my last question for today is someone wanted to know about recurrent urinary tract infections, usually abbreviated UTI. So this urinary tract infection can become recurrent because of either repeated infection, or it can be an imbalance in the microbiome in our private parts. Because remember, we have microbiomes in different parts of our body. We have a microbiome in the mouth, we have one in the gut, especially in the colon, and we have others in the vulva area and the vagina. So it is important to ensure that we protect these friendly microbes by those habits we are always talking about. Avoid sugar and added sugar in excess in your lifestyle, because it tends to feed the harmful microbes and reduce the population of the helpful ones. So that is on the lifestyle side. Then we recommend for recurrent UTIs, flavonoid complex, very helpful. If you have acidophilus in your market, it is going to be helpful in restoring a healthy microbiome, because once your microbiome is correct, then it is going to actually fight for you against these urinary tract infecting microbes. If you do not have acidophilus, as usual, I recommend that you select from your culture any type of fermented foods. I think you are all aware, we are, whether in Africa or Europe, elsewhere, most cultures have developed fermented foods that normally would be part of their diet. Unfortunately, many of us in following foreign diets have abandoned those foods. And so just to remember that they have a very important part to play in giving you a broad spectrum microbiome, which helps to fight some of these chronic or recurrent infections. Then we add to that garlic allium, which helps to kill harmful microbes in our system. So for recurrent UTI, flavonoid complex, acidophilus or fermented foods, and garlic allium complex. And of course, fiber tablets is always a recommendation, because fiber, we don't take the fiber for our own needs. The fiber that we take is, whether in our diet or in our supplement, is usually to feed our friendly microbes, so that they increase in their number and variation, and they in their turn are going to pay us back by helping to boost our immunity against some of these opportunistic infections that tend to attack us. So let me leave it there for this evening. I want to thank you very much for having spent this half hour with me about the products. I hope you have found the session on Q&A useful, and as always, I appreciate you sending questions which you come across, so that we may also share. And in sharing this information, we are better able to go out with confidence and to make suggestions to people who have needs that we can satisfy. So again, to wish you a very good August. This month that is here in Southern Africa is dedicated to women. I want to wish you all the very best in your efforts, the ladies who are in the line, as well as the gents without whom our lives would be incomplete. So a good month of August, both in the business and in your personal life. Thank you very much. Let me hand you over to Pascal, who is standing by right here.